Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk on YouTube.com. It is Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo and Dee Woodson. I try to get a hold of Michael Bullock. I don't believe we're going to get him tonight for obvious reasons. But, it is an honor, as always, to have you guys here. And we got a lot to talk about. SmackDown Live that went down last night from the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida. Plus, we also got Lucha Underground from tonight's episode of Lucha Underground, and more importantly, guys, we got some news coming up that's going to be very interesting. Of course, the return of Cerebral Smack Talk. Well, the return of Strictly Sports, I should say, on Friday night. Anthony will set the docket for you guys, and we're just gonna dive right in. And we have, like I said, a lot to talk about, and not a whole lot of time to get it done. So let's start it off. SmackDown Live last night, as I said, from the Amway Arena, the home of the Orlando Magic on the USA Network. And it started off with Randy Orton cutting a promo here, basically almost saying that he made all these choices, all these decisions, and that it doesn't matter what happens from now on, that he's going to take down the heroes that the fans channel and love. People like Jeff Hardy, and he basically told him what he did last week. Hardy called him out, and Orton went on that violent on Jeff Hardy, leaving him in a heap again, and then doing one of the most disrespectful things that he does, the face paint that Jeff Hardy comes out to each and every time out. He basically washed it off on him, basically rubbing it in his face. Danny channeled he ran down his accolades, being a 13-time world champion, the youngest WWE World Heavyweight Champion in history when he beat Chris Benoit at SummerSlam in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We all remember that event. That was the coming out party for the Legend Killer. Main eventing WrestleMania, winning multiple Royal Rumbles, being the sole survivor of multiple Survivor Series. The list goes on and on. And he basically said it. He's like, you can call me the Apex Predator, you can call me the Viper of Hell, you can even call me the Legend Killer, but there's 3 little letters anyone needs to remember, and that's RKO. Okay. This was beautifully done. I love the intensity. I love the fire. It was good in certain areas because you see Orton's heel tendencies really starting to come out. And that's the one thing that was really the breath of fresh air was, we saw the attitude, the beatdowns. There was that one moment where he went gruesome on us all. But now the promos, and, last week was amazing. It was awesome. This week, kind of a carbon copy of the last episode. It was still good. It was not bad, but I think the writers need to work a little bit on Orton. Not too much, but you got to tweak it a little bit. I mean, it needs a minor adjustment. Keep that same intensity, the same fire. You just got to give him. He got through Jeff Hardy, and obviously Jeff Hardy's storyline is not done, but he's got to start talking about other guys. Maybe throw an AJ Styles at him. Maybe throw, a Daniel Bryan at us. Give us something that, that will propel him down the line, because there's going to be some more heels or more heat that Orton can generate, but they got to do this the right way, and they got to work it through. So it was good. I liked it, but it wasn't perfect. So Anthony Floyo, come on in, my friend. Give me your thoughts on Randy Orton's opening segment of the show.
Well, I'll tell you, MF. I mean, a heel Randy Orton is undoubtedly one of the greatest heels in WWE history. And that had been lacking for too long up until Extreme Rules. But since Extreme Rules last month, the Viper is back in his element, and he's at a sadistic level once again that makes him stand out. And, last night's show started off with Orton cutting another promo about the WWE Universe and about the charismatic Enigma primarily. And he went back to Hardy, and it was another stellar promo by the Viper, and it will be intriguing to see what he does next, given what he has already done. And you're right, MF. It felt a bit too much like last week's promo, but for me, it still hit the mark, and it resulted in a stellar way to open up the show. And, outside of feeling a bit recycled, Randy Orton made his intentions crystal clear last night in another menacing promo. And as of now, it's Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one for the United States Heavyweight Championship in the SummerSlam. And right now, that's how it is. But I have read dirt sheets, Bullock's read dirt sheets that Orton will be added to that match, making it a triple threat down the road. And speaking of Michael Bullock, I can confirm that Michael Bullock will not be joining us this evening for very special reasons, as I put in our group chat box. So I'll just park it there. So nothing more for me to say on that. I agree with just about everything MF said. It was, even though I felt it was another stellar promo as well. So, Didi, what's in your thoughts on?
Yeah, I pretty much kind of agree with with what you guys said. So I'm not going to really add anything to it. So let's move on.
Well, and we go into the first fight of the night, and I think Pretty Paige kind of listened to me on this one, so I'm gonna take a little bit of some credit on this. I'm gonna give like maybe I'll get like 0.1% of credit on this one, because I feel like this kind of happened on my watch. So, all right, what happened was on Saturday, I'm just goofing around, and I came across an Instagram post, and it was from Billy. It was on Peyton Royce's Instagram, and it was the Iconics, and they were mocking Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, basically saying, "Oh, that how they were besties, the T thing," and now they kind of were throwing that monkey wrench, saying they're not going to be loyal. They're going to be just like Bayley and Sasha are. And it looks like they were planting the seeds of possibly the two girls possibly going after each other. They basically, so sure enough, I was like, Paige, are you listening to this? I'm like, why do I have a feeling we might have a tag team fight on our hands? Well, I guess somebody found out and read my post, or probably listened to the WWE Universe, because that's what we got. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch against the Iconics, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 33 seconds was Charlotte Flair. Got the figure 8 on Peyton Royce. Peyton taps out. And Anthony Florio, you lead off, my friend. Give me your thoughts.
2-star match, MF. I mean, it was a pretty good tag team match, even if it lacked in fireworks and even if it didn't go on very long. But, getting to the Charlotte and Becky situation, I mean, this caused some apparent tension between Lynch and Charlotte, with Charlotte going over last week and getting that, making it a triple threat. And given how Lynch wanted the odds to win more in her favor, but the friends were on the same page last night when they squared off with the Iconics in tag team action. And even though they will be opponents in just over a week, the two former 4 horsewomen were collectively in sync last night. They took care of the Iconics after, a pretty good and solid tag team match, with Charlotte making Peyton Royce tap out to get the win. They were ecstatic about it backstage, but they soon remembered they're going to be opponents at SummerSlam with the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line, something both women are craving to get. So, I mean, there's nothing really much to say on this except it was 2 stars. I mean, it did lack in fireworks. It was okay. It was an okay yet clunky bout, but at least we had the right result. So the right team definitely went over here. So not really much more I can say on that. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out on the Go Home show next week to see if we're going to get that tension or if they're just going to, save it for SummerSlam and see what happens once we get to Brooklyn. So solid 2-star bout. So Didi, what's in your thoughts on this tag team?
Yeah, I agree. It was a 2-star bout. It was okay. I mean, wasn't the best in the world, but they got their point across and made it very storyline worthy for a tag team match. Making sure that we all knew that in the end that these two were going to be facing Carmella, who just happened to have been at the announce table for the whole match. So not a whole lot I'm going to say about it. So Lex, it's yours.
2-star is the rating for the match. I absolutely agree with everything that you guys have said up to this point. No need to wax poetic on this one. We're just gonna dive right into the next thing, and that was a promo by the WWE champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles, basically answering back to a comment that was made by Samoa Joe that was basically a flare up, to say the very least. And he basically put it out there. He went very personal. He talked about all the trash talking. He went with everything that what Joe said about his family, and you could see he really, I mean, AJ pouring his heart out. He talked about missing the birthdays, the little league games. He even went as far to talk about his beautiful wife and how they just recently, actually, just a few days ago, have now celebrated 18 years of marriage. Bro, God bless you, man. 18 years of marriage. There's really nothing more to say, man. I mean, I got so much respect for AJ and his wife, and especially his wife, man, because AJ is gone 300 nights a year, and for her to do everything basically on her own without AJ there, I mean, that's a testament. There's always that great saying about wherever there's a great man, there's always a great woman. She's a great woman, and she needs to be respected and admired for what she has to. So what happens? So it's unbelievable. It was a really solid segment, at least in my eyes. Didi Woodson, it's all yours, my dear. What did you think about AJ Styles' promo?
It was a very solid segment. My hat goes off to his wife as well. Being a mother myself, I know how hard it is to raise. Well, in my case, it was 5 kids, but in their case, there's 4. And her having to do that, especially with 3 of them being young boys. Boys tend to need their dads to a point, and he wasn't there as much as he would like, but still, I mean, he's got the tattoo with their names and their age on the side. I mean, you can't say he's not there, not supporting his family, at least in spirit. So but yeah, it was a strong segment, very well done. uh, a good shot at all the personal stuff that Samoa Joe had hit out with him. So, I mean, he was very good counteracting back. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. I guess I toss it to Florio.
Anthony, it's yours.
Segment of the night. I mean, a phenomenal segment that really helps get this feud to another level and make it must see. This, to me, was the Phenomenal One's best promo in the WWE so far. He knocked it out of the park in a segment that felt very real. And I'm telling you folks right now, when we get to SummerSlam, this is going to this fight alone is going to steal the show. I mean, this is going to be, in my opinion, the fight of the night. I mean, they're really making the SmackDown side of the card really, really awesome. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm just gonna, park it there. This is a match that not many people would have expected to see as a headline match at SummerSlam. That will take place in just over a week with the title on the line. And AJ's had this incredible run since taking the title off of Jinder Mahal last November. And you heard about it. These two have a long history dating back to their days in TNA in the Indies. And Joe made things personal when he crossed the line last week. He went there, as we say. And, we got into that on the last show. And the Phenomenal One addressed the remarks last night. And, you guys said everything right. I mean, he's away from his family well over 300 days a year to ply his amazing craft in that ring. And, yeah, kudos to Wendy, his wife. I mean, just amazing what she does, raising four young children on her own, while AJ's doing his thing, this is why he is the most respected performer in the business today. And, I talk about Seth Rollins being the frontline soldier for Monday Night Raw. Well, AJ Styles is not only the frontline soldier for SmackDown Live, he's also I think he's the frontline soldier for the company altogether. And that was, like I said, that was his best promo, his best WWE promo in well over 2.5 years of being in the business. And in the very arena he made his debut at the Royal Rumble in 2016. It was the Amway Arena. He knows Orlando very well from his days in TNA. So, and to see Joe just, laughing, just smug laughing there, I mean, genius. So, I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star at SummerSlam. I mean, I would love for it to be. I mean, it's got the potential to be, given their past history. So, I think it's going to be a 4.5 star match at SummerSlam. That's just my early thought on it. But, we'll get into that, next week. But for right now, that was the segment of the night. And for AJ Styles, that was his personal best WWE promo since coming to the business 2.5 years ago in Orlando, the very same arena he debuted in. So, amazing. So, man, I cannot wait for SummerSlam. I cannot get here fast enough. So, let's just move on, MF.
My computer froze for a moment there. All right, so this is the part of the show now. I'm gonna ask you guys if you guys want to talk about it. We can. If you don't, then no problem. It was a return match from last week. Zelina Vega versus Lana. Zelina Vega did win the match at 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, again, if you want to talk about it, we can. If you want to move on, we could move on, and we could call this a cutout. I just need an answer from you guys. Move on. All right. So Didi Wilson's calling for a move on. I'm guessing Florio, you're gonna follow suit on that as well. So we're gonna move on. Well, we're not cutting this out. Oh hell no, we're not cutting this out. Byron Saxton conducts an interview with The Miz on the set of Miz and Mrs. And, the next thing that happens, Daniel Bryan showed up, and he jumps the Miz. It is on, boys. Only a matter of time now, but it's getting closer and closer and closer, and we know it's gonna happen. But man alive, woo, beatdown city. But then again, the Miz was asking for it, man. He's been poking the bear way too much, and finally Daniel Bryan just said enough is enough, and I gotta take it to this guy, and sure as hell he did. Took it to him and took him to the woodshed. Dee Woodson probably would have been very happy with that. Slapped him over the back on the checkered apron, as she would say at one time. If I messed that up, my bad, but you know what I mean. Anthony Flair, it's all yours, man. The leader of the Yes Movement, man, he had enough.
Yeah, he had enough. He had enough, all right. And I'll tell you what. No, the Yes Movement is still nowhere near the intensely emotional level it was in 2014. But if anyone can help Daniel Bryan regain momentum and popularity, it is The Miz, the best heel in the business. He is an insufferable, ass who loves him some him. I mean, he is, that diva villain, like we've seen in the NFL, guys like T.O. and Deion Sanders, he's just that villain that the fans, including myself and of course Michael Bullock, I mean, you know how Bullock is. He wants to see him get silenced and humbled, and there's a very good chance that could happen in the SummerSlam, but that only makes him that much more unlikable and an even more valuable asset to WWE today. And man alive, I mean, just incredible. I mean, the beatdown was amazing. The Gestapo security guards, eventually got the better of him. But it is official. The match is official. It will happen at SummerSlam. The Miz posted something on social media prior to SmackDown Live yesterday, and we wanted it. We're gonna get it. I mean, man, they're really making the SmackDown side of the SummerSlam card that much more better than Raw. I mean, Raw's full of repetitive matches. We're getting fresher matches on the SmackDown side, even though we have seen Bryan and Miz before. I mean, a lot of history here. This goes back 8 years. This goes back to when they did that weekly NXT show on the Sci-Fi Network. I mean, back when NXT was, a campy comedy, bullfunky nonsense show before it became, one of the best thing going in the business today. But when Miz was Daniel Bryan's pro and everything else, and the one singles bout that I can remember them having, the United States Heavyweight Championship match, the Night of Champions in 2010, when Daniel Bryan won the title from Miz in Chicago in 2010. So I'm expecting the same outcome when we get there, but this segment, though, was really well done. I mean, SmackDown Live, to me, has the three best heels in WWE today. In no particular order: The Miz, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. They are, to me, the three best heels when it comes to the main roster right now. Last night, we saw it with Orton, and we saw it again here with The Miz. I just think The Miz right now is on a whole nother level when it comes to heels. He's just that heel that everybody loves to hate. So nothing more to say on that. So another well done segment here. So just makes us even more excited for the SummerSlam match, which I'm having a hard time deciding which one's going to be the show stealer. Is it going to be Miz and Bryan, or is it going to be AJ and Joe? My gut's telling me AJ and Joe. I think this could be the second best fight of the night. SmackDown's going to have two show stealers at SummerSlam, whereas Raw had it last year. You know that story. So nothing more to say on that. So Dee Woodson, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a very good segment. I mean, we've been seeing this leading up to this for quite some time, and you're saying that this is of new or fresher matches here on SmackDown. This one we haven't seen in quite some time due to you know Daniel's injuries and stuff. But it's going to be good to actually see them actually fulfill this because I mean, all that time he was GM, they were still building this in hopes of his return, and now that he's returned, now they're both in the same show. We're going to actually see this go down, and Miz already shot the personal aspect of this when he brought the baby doll out to the ring and um, had what everybody, well, what he says was not his daughter in the back, which we don't know. I don't know if that, if it was Monroe or not, but it is what it is. He hit the personal shots, and now it's time to put up or shut up for the Miz. So yeah, he's the villain everybody loves to hate, and very good at it. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Fletch, I toss it to you.
Now we got a couple of cutouts here on the show. Shinsuke Nakamura goes one-on-one with R-Truth. Nakamura wins the match in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Decent fight. Much needed win for the United States champion. And actually, you got to give credit where credit's due. R-Truth actually, decent performance, good match. He definitely made Nakamura look good in defeat. And plus, on top of that, R-Truth got a little bit of some offense in the fight as well. So I mean, it wasn't like a flat out squash match. So I mean, not bad, pretty good. Then we had the Bashams going up against a team called 3SK. That was basically a straight up beatdown, basically just to get the Bashams the Bludgeons over. Why am I saying Basham Brothers? It's the Bludgeon Brothers. So I don't know. I'm thinking probably Attitude Era back in the day of WWE, but the Bludgeon Brothers, very impressive. Minute 48-second victory. So they're on the way, and well, that set it up for the main event of the evening: The Bar versus the New Day. The winners gets the shot out at 21 minutes and 32 seconds. The New Day gets the shot at the tag team titles. Oh my God. That's all I'm going to say. What a match. I believe this goes to... Is it Didi Woodson? Do you lead off, my love?
I think it's Florio.
Actually, no. Yeah, you're right. It's Anthony. Anthony, it's all yours, man. Fight of the night.
You couldn't be any more spot on, man. Wow. This was indeed the fight of the night. 4 to 4.5 stars. The New Day and the Bar have wrestled each other countless times, and every time the match is simply superb. This was no different. The action, the drama, and the psychology added up to a phenomenal wrestling match that properly spotlighted SmackDown Live's outstanding tag team division. I'm going to be I do have one little nitpick here. I think, in my opinion, Sheamus and Cesaro would have been the better opponents for the Bludgeons, if only because their physicality matches up. But as it stands, the New Day will have an opportunity to use its speed and smarts to try to knock off the seemingly unbeatable Bludgeon Brothers in the SummerSlam. And oh my goodness gracious. I mean, this match alone last night was far better than anything on Monday Night Raw combined. I mean, you heard the scathing reviews we had this past week on Ridiculously Raw. So, I mean, but boy, howdy. I mean, I'm still blown away. I mean, these teams put on a high-quality pay-per-view caliber match that would steal the show at almost any pay-per-view throughout the year in the WWE today. And it was so great to see this match get 20 plus minutes as well, given how TV matches rarely ever get this kind of time. It went back and forth so many times, it was nearly impossible to say who was going to win. Just when the Bar looked like it had the match won, the New Day wouldn't die, and the tandem offense of Big E and Kofi proved to be enough in the end. And now the New Day gets the opportunity, but it will be extremely difficult to top the match that went down last night. When tag team wrestling is done right, it's a beautiful thing, and the same can be said for the potential television match of the year candidate we were able to witness last night. So I'm just going to park it there. 4 to 4.5 stars. Incredible match. Fight of the night. And I'll tell you, last night's SmackDown Live was not exactly the greatest show. I'm going to be honest with you. If this match didn't go down, this would have gone down quite possibly as one of those rare SmackDown Lives that was a miss. But this show definitely, but this match here saved it. So that's all I can say on that. So 4 to 4.5, unbelievable match. I mean, go out of your way to see it if you haven't already. Unbelievable. So, Edie Woodson, I mean,
I agree with the rating 7 to 7.5. It was a very, or not 7.5. I mean 4 to 4.5. It was a very good match. They got a lot of time. It was a hot crowd that was there, and they all did a great job in the end. And seeing the Bludgeons looking on at the victory ceremony, from behind, way out there behind the crowd. I mean, that was kind of cool to kind of look over their shoulders at it. So, it was a very good match. The Bar definitely gave them a run for their money, and seeing Biggie fighting through that submission, I mean, that was just really, really amazing. The strength that he has to be able to do that, I mean, that was just awesome. Not going to say too much more, so Fletch, it's yours.
All right, 4.5 stars is my rating as well. This was an amazing main event, no doubt about it. I totally agree with everything that you guys have said up to this point. We're just gonna go right into overall reviews, and Dee Woodson, you lead off. And I heard 7 to 7.5. Is that your official rating?
Yeah, that was my official rating. I got mixed up when I was saying it, so yeah, I'm going 7.5. I agree with Florio on the fact that the main event actually made the show, but you also had, those couple segments that were pretty good, pretty hot. So, SmackDown's always been a big storyline building show, and they still delivered even with some of the backstage segments. Just something, like he said, something new, fresh every week. They definitely have their mind set on the game, and getting us prepared and actually wanting to look forward to this pay-per-view. So not going to say too much more, but yeah, I would say make a point to go all the way for the main event. Look out for that Miz interview with Daniel coming out, and the AJ promo. Those were probably the 3 major top things for the whole show. Although the ladies' tag match wasn't that bad either, so I would say it could be possibly worth your time. So, hey, not much more I'm going to say about it. I'll toss it back to you. And good night,
all right,
guys.
and good night, Didi. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go with Didi with the 7 out of 10. This was solid. It wasn't really the greatest show in the world, but it was solid enough. I thought it was passable, to say the very least. So, yes, it was a good show. Definitely a little bit of a step down from last week's spectacular show. They really hit. They've been, again, SmackDown Live has been hitting it out of the park week in and week out. And I will openly admit it. It was kind of a down week for SmackDown Live. Any other more higher, and unfortunately, it wasn't the perfect show, but it wasn't the worst show either. It was really something in the middle. But the main event alone, just the main event alone, the New Day versus the Bar, just absolutely left us gasping for air. And we kind of were like, are you kidding me, guys? But that's the beauty of SmackDown Live. Anthony said it once on draft night in Providence: the rich gets richer, and SmackDown Live cannot do anything wrong at this point. That's just Fox Network. I hope you guys are watching right now, because in October of 2019, this is what you're going to be getting every Friday night. I just hope you guys have the marketing, the ideas, the vision, and I hope you're ready, because what SmackDown has been doing, man, they can't do anything wrong. Far and away better than anything that's coming out of the pipeline from WWE programming, no doubt about it. Probably the only thing right now, 205 Live, I mean, they're looking very solid right now. And NXT, man, are they putting themselves in an unbelievable position going into the Barclays and the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. That's going to be next Saturday night. So, I mean, in the world of WWE. So, nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, I gave it 7 out of 10. DD 7 to 7.5. What says you?
7. Solid 7. I mean,
okay.
Like I said, if the main event didn't deliver, you take that main event away, the rating, honestly, MF, it would have been in Monday Night Raw territory. That's how meh the show was.
I agree.
Up until the main event. I mean, we would have been talking, goodness gracious. I mean,
at least maybe a 3, 4, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Absolutely. It probably would have been maybe like a 3 or a 4 if we didn't have that. If it wasn't for that incredible main event. But the main event alone is what gave it the 7 rating. I mean, this past Monday night, we witnessed the worst Raw of 2018 by a country mile. A show that I personally rated a 0 to 1 out of 10. That's how bad it was. I mean, Raw had absolutely nothing. I mean, Raw was an absolute snoozer. I mean, there were points where I fell asleep during that show. It was so bad. But, SmackDown Live, everything that you guys said was spot on. I mean, main event saved this show from being a rare dumpster fire show. But it was a great match, and that was easily the best thing on the show. They got a lot of time. They busted their asses, and they delivered a great match with a hot crowd that was into everything, especially the closing stretch, and a great work by all involved. If I had to rate the other matches, well, we did rate the women's tag match. I mean, that was definitely a 2-star match. Zelina and Lana, if I was going to rate that, I would have given that 1.5. I would have given maybe around 1.5 to 2 for Shinsuke and R-Truth. The Bludgeons, that was a dud. That was a squash. We all know that. But this was solid 4. I mean, like Edie said, if we're going to recommend anything from this show, the main event, obviously, first and foremost. I'll give you the Orton segment. I mean, I'm digging the Orton heel turn. I mean, he feels motivated. He's happy being a heel again, which, he's wanted that for some time. Of course, the AJ segment, that was very good. It felt like an appropriate response to Joe's promo last week, and it had good fire there. And the Miz and Bryan segment. That was very good stuff. Miz continues to be that completely unlikable D-bag heel, and Bryan's attack was well done and had great intensity until Miz got over on him thanks to his Gestapo security guards. And sum it all up, SmackDown Live, overall good show. It continues a string of effective shows building the SummerSlam. Unlike Monday Night Raw, the good stuff and SummerSlam build elements are easy to see and appreciate. Orton cut a great promo. Seems happy to be a heel again. The women's tag, Charlotte and Becky, they won, but teased their issues ahead of SummerSlam in their title match. Vega and Lana was not good, but they continued to establish the angle between all involved, with Almas and English and Rusev. Styles cut a great promo to answer Joe's promo from last week. They continued to build to what I believe is going to be an epic title match. The Bryan and Miz segment was great. The squashes for the champions were fine for them. Main event delivered. The SmackDown side of SummerSlam, way more interesting than the Raw side, and the bill has been so much better. And you said it, MF. Well, SmackDown is far from perfect, and some of the wrestling left a lot to be desired last night. They're in a groove, and they're making the most of the pay-per-view build. And they're now being billed as the A show right now, and rightfully so, because in 2 months' time, mark it on your calendars, my friends. Tuesday night, October the 16th. That's a very special night. You know why it's a special night? Because on that very night, October 16th, SmackDown Live is going to be celebrating their 1,000th
episode.
MF, I mean,
wow.
That on that night, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, I know you're very serious when it comes to your work commitments, but I'm hoping that you don't have any work commitments beyond your control that night, because I want to do a show. I'm hoping we can do this show either immediately following SmackDown Live or a little after. I don't care. I'm just hoping we get to do the recap show that night.
Yeah.
What would be really special, what would be even more special, is if you, me, and Bullock, did a 3-way commentary. I mean, that would be even more special, to celebrate the 1,000th show. But that's 2 months away. That's October 16th. Mark that on your calendar. So, and that's going to be a damn good show. So, unbelievable. SmackDown Live continuing to roll, whereas Monday Night Raw continues to be that Sesame Street-like show it's been over the last several weeks. Pretty much since the Superstar Shakeup, it's been all SmackDown Live. I mean, Raw's only had about 1 or 2 good shows since then. And I don't see any good shows in the future, even though it's go home week next week. So I'm hoping they'll bring it. So Greenville, South Carolina, Horseman Country, get ready, because you get to host the final SmackDown Live before summer go home time. So you're going to be in for a treat next week. Whereas Greensboro, North Carolina, the Greensboro Coliseum, one of the greatest wrestling venues of all time, well, you're going to be in for a dumpster fire on Monday night. So nothing more to say. MF, I believe it's Lucha Underground time. I saw the show tonight. Wow, what an ending! That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, very, very, very good show, to say the very least. Started off with Matanza Cueto versus Malesura. Basically another sacrifice to the gods. We don't really need to talk about that. Then we had Locust and Ivalice teaming up to take on Jack Evans and the creepy bastard Joey Ryan. And yes, I'm calling him a creepy bastard because he is creepy as hell. Don't even get me started with that. But Joey Ryan and Jack Evans did get a victory there. Then we had Marisopa, and she went up against El Dragon Azteca Jr. for the Gift of the Gods title. And Dragon Azteca Jr. successfully defends the championship. And then in the main event, the Worldwide Underground versus the Reptile Tribe. And the winners were the Worldwide Underground. Basically, well, this was the big thing. If Johnny Mundo would the tribe has lost, basically the Worldwide Underground now holds the cards, and they're now in the Reptile Tribe is in the mercy of the Worldwide Underground, what is going to be the punishment? Well, it could be a defection. It could be that the reptile tribe is destroyed forever. Well, you know, I haven't seen the part, so please don't spoil it, guys. But I'll tell you this: this was a very good episode, from what I know, and that's it, guys. So we're gonna end it here. Anthony Flayo, come on in quickly. I heard the docket has not changed, so just hit us one time with the docket for Strictly Sports on Friday.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, MF. This last Friday night, we were supposed to have a Strictly Sports show, but because of commitments and plans beyond MF and Bullock's control, both men were out late. I notified Derek Ferreira, and Derek and I agreed that it was best for all parties involved that we cancel the show because of how late that MF and Bullock were out. So because of that, we're going to try it again, and hopefully we'll have a show this time around. Praying to the gods for that. Kevin Love re-signing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Vince Carter signing with the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, Aaron Judge battling an injury. That sidelined him for a little bit. We'll also recap the Major League Baseball trading deadline. Then we will have our latest installment of the Major League Baseball teams. Very exciting content going to be coming up within the coming weeks. I mean, this could, for all intents and purposes, this could be, one of the last Strictly Sports shows, because I'm sure we're going to be getting into the SummerSlam NXT preview the following week, and then I'm thinking it could be August 24th that we could be looking at the season finale of Strictly Sports, and because I'm sure you heard the big announcement from Derek Ferreira today. Oh Lordy, that's all I'm going to say on that. I mean, wow, that's unbelievable. At the end of the month, that's going to be something else, and then before you know, it's going to be football. It's going to be college football Thursday and NFL Friday. So get ready, friends. About a month from now, the game's about to change in a good way. It's exciting content coming up as we vastly approach the fall season, and this is when the fun's really going to begin. So that's it, pretty much. So that's Friday night, 10:30. I'm hoping we get it done this time. I really hope we don't have to cancel again, but we'll have to wait.
I'll be there, Florio. So no, we're on for Thursday, for Friday.
All right, very good. Glad to hear that. So if it's just us, I mean, we'll see about Bullock. I mean, Bullock says he should be there, so we'll see what happens. So that's Friday night, and then of course, next week, of course, SummerSlam week, basically.
Yeah.
Raw, the go home show. Of course, you're right here, MF Cerebral Smack Talk. Go home show. If I know Derek, we'll probably end up doing the NXT and SummerSlam show Friday the 17th. I'm just saying. So we'll see.
I agree.
So get ready, friends. Exciting content coming up within the next several weeks. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be great. So nothing more to say. We're gonna park it here. So MF, let's just take it home. We'll see you Friday night, folks.
All right. And as always, for Anthony Florio, for Didi Woodson, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody. Leave a comment at the bottom. Like the video. Share with all your friends on all social media platforms. Have a good night, everybody. So long for now, and we'll see you guys Friday night. Bye-bye.